But let's turn to our top focus tonight on the Kashmir violence. Today, some shocking pictures have surfaced from the valley. India Today has got access to visuals where the CRPF Jawans are facing the brunt of attacks by violent mobs in Kashmir. Take a look at this report.
CRPF's riot control vehicle under attack. A violent mob resorting to massive stone pelting. These images captured on the cameras of CRPF, accessed exclusively by India Today. In another area, roof of a CRPF bunker on fire after some protesters hurled petrol bombs on it. More than 300 CRPF and Jammu and Kashmir police personnel have been injured in the recent mob violence in the valley. There have also been instances of terrorists mixing up with stone pelters and hurling grenades and firing on CRPF and Jammu and Kashmir police. The CRPF and police say that they are responding with restraint, using only non-lethal weapons.
Basically to maintain peace and tranquility in the area and to ensure that things are going quite smoothly over here. Trying our best to restrain ourselves. We are restraining rather, and our men are being inflicted a lot of casualties.
The violent mobs have also stolen weapons from police stations in south of Kashmir, which remains a cause of concern for the security agencies.
Elements of Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Hizbul Mujahideen could also try and exploit this situation. Curfew firmly in place, but will it continue to simmer, or will it now hopefully get resolved or at least move to calmer times? That remains to be seen. With cameraman Kirpal Singh in downtown Srinagar, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.
And joining me now is Gaurav Sawant, who's brought some of those pictures to us. Gaurav, I'm going to play on my screen the pictures of the CRPF platoon being attacked by some of those protesters, those stone-throwing instances that you're showing to on camera. Tell us, at the moment, on the ground, is there a sense of calm having returned, or is this an everyday occurrence now in Kashmir, in the valley?
Rajdeep, it was an everyday occurrence in the valley in the past week. Today was calm. Was it deceptive calm? We still do not know. Today was the Martyrs' Day. One expected violence. The security forces were in place, Rajdeep, in good numbers. Now, we walked through downtown, and this is an area where locals also prefer not to go, especially when the situation is tense. But we went there, we reported from there through the day, and we reported on heavy stone pelting later in the evening. That's the time when CRPF and Jammu and Kashmir police personnel were withdrawing from the deployment. That's the time that stone pelters came in once again. But much less, the intensity was much less compared to what it was in the past several days. The litmus test, Rajdeep, is actually Friday. After the Friday prayers, does it remain restricted or does it flare up? And that's one part of the test. Unfortunately, the fear is that Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists could have infiltrated, and now they could try and take advantage of the situation. So that is one big apprehension in the valley.
These reports, intelligence reports, Gaurav, that the intelligence authorities believe that the stone pelters have also been mixed with people who have, as Mehbooba Mufti put it, vested interests. Have the police been able to identify who these vested interests are?
Rajdeep, what is extremely interesting here is now whether it's the Jammu and Kashmir police or the CRPF, while they are deployed on duty, while they have their non-lethal weapons, as they call it, the stun grenades and all of that, they also have cameras. So they are recording all these incidents, and now the intelligence agencies are scanning faces, and they have a lot of software here where they scan faces and identify who are potential troublemakers and registered troublemakers. So that exercise is on. There have already been two instances, Rajdeep, when CRPF personnel were withdrawing, and exactly the location where we were, a grenade was hurled at them a couple of days ago, and 22 CRPF personnel were injured. 10 are still admitted in hospital. In another case in Shopia, an AK-47 burst was fired at the security forces. So are these terrorists? Who are these people? There's an effort to identify them. But just now the situation remains tense.
Right.
There is some bit of fatigue that has set in, because ever since Burhan Wani was killed, people have been out on the streets. So now they've returned home. Will they return on Friday, and will they return just for a day, or will this go on? Remains to be seen, because tourism has taken one big hit, which is the peak season.
Right.
And as Shujaul Haq was reporting, Rajdeep, 2,000 weddings have been cancelled.
Gaurav Sawant joining me there, giving me a ground report. Remember also, and I should tell our viewers, while security personnel have been injured, don't also forget that more than 100 Kashmiris have also been injured and are in hospital, many of them with serious eye injuries as a result of the pellet wounds. 32 have died. So really, on both sides of this divide, there is tragedy. Which brings me to someone who has much to answer for. Mirwais Omar Farooq, the Separatist leader, is joining me at the moment. I appreciate your joining me, Mirwais. You joined me on Skype because you are, in a sense, under house arrest. You can't leave the house. My question to you straight away, are you fanning these flames? The charge against Separatists is that you are behind these stone pelters. You are fanning the flames, Mirwais Omar Farooq.
Rajdeep, I and my colleagues have been under house arrest for the last 6 days. And I think, for God's sake, you need to realize, either, I have doubles, I have clones who are on the streets and asking people to go and, telling them to protest. Or I think there's a lack of understanding, complete lack of understanding as far as the situation in Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. We have talked, many times, Rajdeep, and I think after a long time, I am on your television, and I appreciate your fact. I read your article in the morning today, and you had said that, we need to be true. If you're an Indian, let us take the reality of the Kashmir issue and tell to the people of India. You have to understand that, see, for the Delhi government, they fully understand the reality of Kashmir. What the problem actually here is, they don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want the people of India to know what the real issue of Kashmir is.
I'll come to that, Mirwais. I am ready to come, and I am happy to face the reality, good, bad and ugly, as a journalist. But I want to ask you this. Are you telling me that sitting in your house, you've had nothing to do with the violence that has taken place outside? The Hurriyat conference has just said they are extending the lockdown by 2 days. Why? In peak tourism season, in a time when people...
You have to understand.
No, 1 minute. What are you gaining by these hartals? What are you gaining by hartals?
Go for the Eid prayers, for God's sake, Rajdeep. I'm in under house arrest since Eid. My other colleague, Gilani Saab, Yasin, most of my other Hurriyat colleagues have been under house arrest since the last...
You are remote. The charge against you is that you are remote controlling the so-called boys on the street. The vested interest that Mehbooba spoke of.
Rajdeep, come on, for God's sake. Come on, let us be honest. Let us be realistic what's going on in the valley today. Please, for God's sake, it's time to let the people of India know the truth. You had hundreds and thousands of people, in the last rites of Burhan, funeral prayers of Burhan. And what were they saying? Only one voice, only one word: we want freedom. They were not asking for perks. They were not asking for jobs. They were not asking for anything else.
No.
And that is the reality as far as the Kashmir
that is one reality. That is one reality. The other reality is, till 2 weeks ago, there was no such tension. There was no stone throwing. There was no stone pelting. Till 2 weeks ago, it seemed everything was calm. Suddenly these voices arise in the last 1 week, which is why people are asking questions. Is this a sponsored violence at one level? Yes, there may be some level of spontaneity, but is there also an element of sponsored violence?
Let me respond. For you, it was calm because you're still sitting in Delhi in a comfortable studio, and there are people who are passing judgments on the situation in Jammu and Kashmir. For you, tourists coming to Kashmir, having an election, telling the world that, people participated in these elections and you had a high turnout. That is what you want to tell the world. That's the reality of Kashmir. For us, that is not the reality. For us, the fact is that, whether myself, Gilani, others, Yasin, in the last 1 year, we have been, in 33 times I've been under house arrest. We are not allowed to hold a rally. We're not allowed to hold a seminar. We are caged. We are confined. and then you are trying to give the impression that, if people are on the streets, because, remember, this is exactly what we were discussing probably 6 years back when I was in a television in 2010. Even that time, I told you that, realize that Kashmir is a political issue. The sad part is that, BJP, Congress, all the parties, they want to mislead the people of India and tell them it is all the doing of Pakistan, ISI. I mean, for God's sake,
because
there's
the
a
feeling
sentiment
is
in Kashmir.
because the worry,
acknowledge that.
The worry is that you also take your instructions from across the border. Yes, there is a local element. No one denies the anger and alienation.
This is an insult. Rajdeep, this is an insult. Tell me who is coming from across? All those Kashmiris who have died. 36 people have died. 37 just died right now. How many of them are Pakistanis? How many of them are Pakistanis?
Because
you said 100. No, listen to me first.
Yes.
You said 100 people have been injured. Let me tell you, 1,600 people are injured. You have 60 patients in the SMHS hospital. Probably some of your media teams are going there. 30 people have lost their eyesight. And you are firing pellet guns, you are firing tear gas shells, you are firing at will. You are not firing to disperse, you are firing to kill. For God's sake, have some humanity. What is wrong?
One minute, Mirwais Omar Farooq. Let's be clear. I am not on this channel here to hold you. I on this channel accuse no one. No one is a convict. No one is treating you as a convict. But I am going to raise the question, Mirwais Omar Farooq, that as what is happening on the ground clearly suggests that the separatists today also stand to benefit by allowing these the flames to extend. Every time these young children die, and I call them children, young people under the age of 30, the 32 or 36 who are dead, who benefits? Who grieves? The families grieve. You don't have to grieve. None of the other separatists, sir, with due respect, have to grieve. It's not their family members who are dying. It's the family members of ordinary Kashmiris who are dying. And what about the CRPF Jawans who also have to face the stone throwers? They are the ones who are suffering. What about the police officer whose jeep was thrown off into the Jhelum? This is not done. You can't have it both ways. You first need peace, then the political solution can come. Please tell me, how can a political solution come in the absence of peace? That's my point.
What peace are you talking about? What peace? Peace of the graveyard. Delhi wants peace of the graveyard. Delhi wants Kashmiris to surrender. Delhi wants the Kashmiris to, they want to tell them that they are going to take Article 370.
No
they
terror.
are going to take
No
all the
terror.
perks. They are going to not give them azadi.
No,
they are
not
going
just
to
peace
have
of
black laws. They are going to have Public Safety Act.
How can you have a political solution?
What peace are you talking about?
Mr. Mirwais Omar Farooq, how can you have a political solution when there is terror lurking around the corner? What about terrorists? Is the Hizbul Mujahideen not a terrorist group?
After a long time, let me talk, please. And
yes.
I urge you, let me talk. And
yes,
I'll reply to your questions.
Yes.
Do the people of India know that Kashmir is the world's highest militarized zone? Do they know that there are 500,000 troops in Kashmir? Do they know there is AFSPA? And if there was no AFSPA, do you understand that the CRP, the paramilitary forces would not dare to kill, shoot to kill? What if it was Bombay, it was Delhi, it was any other metropolitan city?
Sir, there is AFSPA because there is the threat of terror. My point is, first, the minimum conditions for a political solution is the withdrawal is the end of violence. How can you have a political solution, Mirwais Omar Farooq, when violence continues? And how can you then rationalize or romanticize that violence?
Tell me, Rajdeep, this was exactly the same discussion in 2010. You had 6 years. 6 years. We were waiting. We were saying that it's time to engage with the people, engage with the sentiment, address the problem. But the problem with Delhi is they only come to you when they see there's a firefighting situation, when you have to dig a well, when you have fire rousing. They don't talk about the problem. For them, when they're able to control the situation, everything is hunky-dory.
So what are the separatists offering?
Out of control,
so what are you offering?
And Mahbub Mufti talks about peace.
So what are you offering apart from strikes and hartals? That's the flip side. Where is the imaginative, meaningful political solution?
Space. I'm telling you, Rajdeep, on your channel, give me political space. Let me out on the streets. We will tell the people. We will urge the people to. But let us even allow us, Rajdeep. 36 people have died. You don't allow us to even mourn these people. You are telling me these are not your people. These are my people. These are my brothers. These are my sisters. These are my children. We feel that Hurriyat is not for perks. We are not like NC and the PDP who want to have this, the perks and who want to enjoy power. We are not in it for for power. We are in it for a basic fact that New Delhi needs to realize who was Burhan. Burhan, you talk about Pakistan, you talk about terrorism. Burhan never went to Pakistan.
Burhan took the gun, sir. Sir, Burhan took the gun. This romanticized difference between freedom fighter and terrorism, sir, is no longer
let me ask you an honest question.
He took the gun. He took up the gun.
Please define a militant. Please define a terrorist.
I am very clear. Anyone who takes up the gun.
Bhagat Singh was a revolutionary. He was a hero. He killed a British officer in revenge. His legacy prompted hundreds of people to join armed movement for India, for their freedom. If Bhagat Singh was a freedom fighter, why is not Burhan a freedom fighter?
1 minute. This is an analogy. This is an analogy which you cannot use because Burhan Wani has, whether you like it or not, taken to the gun through means where innocents are being killed. The fact is that you cannot compare colonial Britain at the moment with what you have got. You've got elections, you've got democracy.
But
you can participate in it. My point is, that's where I come to it. Why doesn't the Hurriyat get involved in the political solution rather than be seen as this group which is going to stand for those who want Azadi, but as a result also are seen to rationalize the violence in the name of Azadi. You cannot rationalize the violence in the name of Azadi.
I take your point on the mandate of the people, yes. You want the mandate of the people? Have a referendum. You have to differentiate between referendum and election. What happened in Scotland was a referendum. What happened in Britain about Brexit was a referendum. Hold a referendum. We will go to the people. We'll tell them to decide what they want to know.
I want to know.
Let me tell you. Let me make it very simple. To be honest enough, I will tell you how average Kashmiri feels today as far as Kashmir is concerned. Till 1947, Rajdeep, India was a colony of the British. And since 1947, Kashmir is a colony of India. Period. This is how people think.
So that's how you see it.
We are being killed, we are being maimed, we are being shot, we are being blinded. And absolutely no concern.
Sir, so have terrorists.
Tell me,
terrorists have also killed thousands of Kashmiris. My point is this is going to be a zero-sum game. Who is dying? Kashmiris are dying.
Yes.
Young Indian police and army men are dying. My limited point and my final question.
New Delhi had a little
where
bit
is
of
the healing touch? Why don't you provide the healing touch?
If they had some little bit of consideration,
Sir, where is
will
the
they
healing
send
touch?
more troops?
You need to provide a healing touch.
They are sending more troops to kill more Kashmiris.
No, it's not about that. It's about you also taking your responsibility. Join the political process. Join the political process, provide a healing touch.
I am under house arrest. Today we had Martyrs Day. I had to jump off the gate. To at least try to march out because we had given a program of a peaceful march. I'm confined to my house. I'm not able to leave. I'm not able to talk to anyone. So you have to understand the fact that you showed a video of CRPF being attacked. I mean, I will give you 30 videos where the CRPF is beating up, taking people out of the ambulance, beating them up, beating the injured, firing at these pellet guns which are banned. I mean, they are used for these birds and other things, and those you are using on the innocent Kashmiris. I mean, will there not be anger when 35 bodies go home and go to a certain area? Will people just sit and relax and wait for another body to come home?
My final question, sir, this is a zero-sum game. You're right. I asked you these questions 6 years ago. There was stone pelting there. More than 100 people died.
Yeah, but what do you do
My
in 6
point
years?
is,
What did your
you
government do
are
in
just
6 years?
as accountable as anyone else.
Ask this also.
Are you telling me that there are no mischief mongers involved, no anti-social elements also involved on the streets today?
Rajdeep, Hurriyat was the first. Hurriyat was the first to welcome when Nawaz Sharif and Modi met. We were the first to welcome, and we said that yes, we let Modi take forward the Vajpayee initiative. Let him engage with all the stakeholders. Vajpayee said that we'll shed the beaten track. He said humanity is bigger than constitution. Where is that? Where is that? Where is that thought? Where is that policy?
Well, you have to. Everyone seems to have a frozen mindset, sir.
Not politically.
Sir, your mindset is also frozen from 6 years. The government of India is also in a frozen mindset. My worry at the moment is no one wants to take those big initiatives to break the logjam. Innocent people are dying.
Let me out. Let Gilani Saab out. Let Yasin out. Let us out. We assure you, we will tell the people to come on the streets. But let us. We need to. I mean, why can't we have a peaceful? Explain this to me. I mean, why can't we be allowed a peaceful sit-in, a peaceful jalsa, a peaceful a congregation? Why? Why is always that we are anytime we announce any program?
Don't know
we are
whether the
keen.
Jalsa will remain peaceful. The
Yes, it
simple
will.
truth is the
It will
past.
remain peaceful.
Where is the
It will
guarantee that a Jalsa will be peaceful? The fear is that you have boxed yourself into a corner where you also that the government of India doesn't trust you. You don't trust the government of India. They don't trust you, and therefore, why with this trust deficit, how can you expect yourself to get the space that you want? You've got to also take initiatives and break yourself out of your frozen mindset.
I'm saying the pro-freedom leadership is ready to take the initiative. But what? You only call us when you have a crisis situation. You don't call us when you want to settle the issue. For you, the issue is economic packages, elections, and jobs for the
across the world.
Nobody is
Elections
asking
are the
that.
way
We
to
don't want
fight.
your jobs.
Across the world, Mirwais. Across the world, elections are the way to resolve these issues.
No, Daji, please make a distinction. Elections can never be a substitute for self-determination. Never. Nowhere in the world. You take Scotland, you
across
take any
the
part of
world,
the world, you take Britain. No. Elections are an administrative issue. Elections cannot determine the future of the people.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there, Mirwais Omar Farooq. I'm glad that you've come. Remember, I've said it, and I'll tell it to you also, that at a time when journalists are also being accused of being anti-national and nationalistic, I believe you have every right to speak. Just as I had Omar Abdullah, I will have Mehbooba Mufti, and I will have army personnel. I believe everyone has a right to speak, but I will make it very clear to you, Mirwais Omar Farooq, that it doesn't mean that what you say is right. There are questions that you too and the Hurriyat conference need to look and introspect. And my thoughts at the end of the day are with the people of Kashmir, whether Kashmiri Muslims or Kashmiri Pandits. We need to think, Mr. Mirwais Omar Farooq, about the common people of Kashmir. Kashmiri Pandits have lost their home, and you will agree with that, and they cannot return to the valley. And Kashmiri Muslims are losing their lives today. I hope you concede that humanity over all else. I hope you will concede that.
Let me just give me a second. I mean, on the last Friday of Ramzan, I know that's the biggest congregation we have in Kashmir, in the Grand Mosque of Srinagar. I said that the people of Kashmir are going to welcome the Kashmiri Pandit brothers. Let them come back. We will welcome them. And mark me, Rajiv, even today, when you have yatra going on, appreciate the fact. Not a single yatri is being hurt. Not a single tourist is being hurt. Yes, there is anger against the police. There is CRPF, against the army, against injustices, but not against the people of India. And we urge the people of India, for God's sake,
also
understand
appreciate
the
what
reality.
happened to
Please
Kashmiri
don't be
Pandits in the
misled by your
1990s.
governments.
You will appreciate what happened to Kashmiri Pandits in the 1990s. It is a blot on your sense of Kashmiriyat. And today I also grieve when young Kashmiris are facing eye injuries and are being blinded in hospitals. I also grieve. Similarly, you must also grieve for Kashmiri Pandits. At the end of the day, please allow humanity to triumph over division. Mirwais Omar Farooq, you must reach out to both sides. Only then will your credibility widen, is all I will say. That's all I will say. You must also grieve for Kashmiri Pandits who have lost their homes.
Rajiv, you first, tell your government in Delhi that they should lift the restrictions on us and allow us to go on and meet at least the dead people, console them, visit those families, and at least give us a right to grieve, for God's sake. Then we can have politics, whatever Delhi wants to do. Because see, ultimately, I'm sorry to say, the government's here, but it's a national conference, the PDP, at the end of the day, they are not anywhere on the scene today. They are just waiting in their drawing rooms. When the police forces will manage the situation, then they will come, and then you will say they are the people.
Let's leave it there.
They are the representatives of the people. Where are they now? The irony of the situation is that your Prime Minister calls a meeting to discuss Kashmir, and the Chief Minister of Kashmir is not there. I mean, this is an acknowledgement of the fact that decisions are made in Delhi. In 2010, the curfew relaxation was done by Delhi when the Home Secretary was announcing when the curfew will be lifted in Kashmir.
Let me leave it there. Let me leave it there. I appreciate you've made your point. My program gives a chance to everyone to make a point. I do not want to impose my views on any individual beyond a point. I appreciate Mirwais Omar Farooq.
We are for peace, but peace with justice, dignity and a solution.
Peace with justice is your slogan. I take your point. Thank you very much for joining me and answering my questions. News, meanwhile, is just coming in. The centre is sending a 3-member team of eye specialists from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences to Jammu and Kashmir to assist the state. That's the breaking news that's coming in. Remember, more than 100 people have suffered eye injuries at the moment. Okay, let me turn to the other story. That's the other story after that 3-member team of eye specialists being sent to Kashmir. We'll have more on that. But I want to turn down south because the big story is brewing at the moment in Karnataka. The alleged suicide by Mangaluru Deputy SP M.K. Ganapathy is becoming a big controversy there. Karnataka Assembly being rocked with the opposition.
It is true. In fact, they've been stating that they would go on a day and night dharna here in the seat of power, which is the Vidhan Sauda, and they will continue as long as the assembly session will be on until their demands are met. And their demands mainly are one, the resignation of KJ George, and two, would be handing over the case to the CBI, because they feel that this whole judicial inquiry that has been initiated by the Karnataka CM is an eyewash. But in the meantime, one must remember that the CM does not really want to make the same mistake that he made during the time of the DK Ravi case, especially because he drew a lot of flack for the kind of delay that went on in terms of handing over the case to the CBI. But this time, in order to buy time, he has in fact initiated the judicial inquiry here. But the BJP alleges that if in case this judicial inquiry was actually headed by the Chief Justice, that would have definitely made some sense. But in the meanwhile, they allege that this entire process is just an eyewash here. But all eyes are on the Siddaramaiah government as to what is going to be their next step in terms of stopping this dharna.
Okay, thanks very much, Pratibha, for joining me there with that latest update.